not. So these racial and ethnic hang-ups, they're present, and we've been influenced by them as well. We've been influenced by the concepts of that. But shirk al-muhabba, love, when you love other than Allah, that's called shirk al-muhabba. That your love, and that's one of the attributes of Allah, is al-wadud, the love. And no one can love you like God can love you. So we just covered various forms of shirk. These were forms of the major shirk. Now we're going to deal with some minor shirk, which was called ashirk al-asghar, minor shirk. Now, these acts of minor shirk is called ashirk al-asghar al-riya. Riya means to show off. You want to be a show-off. Your main thing is just to show off. Something in you just want to be a show-off. That's shirk. That's a minor form of shirk. And we don't want to be guilty of that. And it says, any act of worship or religious deeds done in order to gain praise, fame, or for worldly purposes falls under this minor form. You do some act just for your own personal aggrandizement. You don't have the broader vision of the community. You see, you just do things just for your own personal aggrandizement. That's called shirk, al-riya. You want to be a show-off. Just a show-off. So we don't want to be a show-off. And we live in a society that's communicated. You know, the prophets, most of us really can't define the prophets, identify them. But the prophets weren't sent just to fight the wicked, to slay the wicked. The prophets were sent to show us what's the proper individual government that you should aspire and grow into. The prophets were sent to show you how to live your life as an individual. So when we study Prophet Muhammad's life and actions, it's to show us how we are to live our lives. You know, some people identify the prophets as just to come to slay the wicked. And they miss the advice of how to live a life. So we live in this sort of society where what's communicated by the market experts is that everybody should have what everybody else has, whether or not you can get it through legal means or what. So you have a bunch of people that feel, I should have this new car. I should have this new house. I should have a wife to look a certain way. Or I should have this. And they can't get it through this way. They get it through, you see. And a lot of this confusion is because they don't have the direction. And there are forces that don't want the true message to come out to the majority of the people. A lot of people are manipulated. And this information alone that we've imparted just so far would help the individual, because they'll see examples where you thrust into situations where you hear you making niyyah, or you making dua, or you loving, you see? And this is where we lose our direction. Okay. Then we have what's known as ashirk al-kafai. This is inconspicuous shirk. This is shirk, implies being inwardly dissatisfied with the inevitable condition that has been ordained for one by Allah. Conscientiously lamenting that had you done or not done such and such, or had you approached such and such, you would have had a better status. Now, this is the situation where you say, good example of shirk al-kafai would be, if I was born white, I'll be in a better situation. I wish I was a white man. I can drive in the car like he has. I can have his beautiful wife. I can have, you see, this is, in other words, you're lamenting that your condition would have changed, if you would be in a better condition if this would have happened. No. Or if I hadn't went way down south and married that woman, I'd be in a whole lot better situation, because that woman, she just sent me through a thing. That's sure. You probably married her because she excited you. You liked her. You this, you know, this was, that was your choice. You know, you saw her in the bar dancing, and you liked the way she was shaking the booty, and the smoke was there, and she turned you on. Now you in the fire, and so many things happen. Now you saying, if I wouldn't have married that woman, I would have married this one over here, I would have been there. That's shirk. Don't look at life that way. It's called shirk we're going to say that one again. Shirk al-kafai is called an inconspicuous shirk. Now this type of shirk implies inwardly dissatisfied with the inevitable condition that's been ordained for one by Allah. Or you might find a person, give you another example. You might find a person been here for 40 years, even in the first, world in the first. They saw the time when we was all, you know, standing up at attention and this and that and the other, and you hear, oh, I can remember when we used to do this, and we had this, and we had this. Now we ain't got nothing. That's shirk. No. What happened was supposed to happen. It was Allah's will that it happened that way. And we have to come into the consciousness, it was Allah's will. And if we looked at it properly, certain things happen. Our reaction to certain things, the government's reactions, the FBI's, whatever. But we can conclude, we can't cry over it. What can we learn from yesterday? Can we bring the best forward from yesterday? You see? But to lament that if such and such a thing would have happened, I would have been in a better situation. No. Allah knows what you went through. And maybe what you went through better qualifies you to step forward into something new. To step forward into something far more, you know, sometimes what you didn't experience or what you experienced could either help you or harm you. It depends. But don't lament on it. If it had been another way, I would be in a better situation. Don't do that. That's shirk al-kafai. I would be in a better status if this wouldn't have happened. If I wouldn't have got sick. You can get a physical disease tomorrow. You go to the doctor examine you and say, Mr. Rashidin, you have 6 months to live. This is your prognosis. You're 54 right now, and our tests indicate that you have this. What we have to understand that it is Allah. When we get serious about the power of Allah, the fear of Allah, we see that Allah is in control. It affects our behavior. It affects our behavior. Okay, shirk, and this is a hadith said by the Prophet. Shirk in the Muslim nation is more inconspicuous than the creeping of a black ant on a black rock in the pitch darkness of night. And this inconspicuous shirk is expiated by saying twice the following sentences within a day and a night. O Allah, I take refuge from that I should ascribe anything as a partner in your worship. And I am conscious of that. And I beg your pardon for what sin which I am not aware of. So we just want to cover some aspects of shirk. I guess we can conclude with this information. I won't get totally into it, but it's very helpful. Because with this information, because you're going to see people take various positions. And with these points are very weighty, they're very weighty. We don't make dua to other than Allah. We don't state our intentions of supplication, niyah to other than Allah. We don't show our love and our affections to other than Allah to the degree of worship and making supplications. Now, we love our relatives, our wives, our children. We love them. The love that we show for self and this and that and the other. But what we have to understand that it is Allah who has blessed us with our relatives, ourselves. And when we lose a close one, a relative or whatever, this was a gift from Allah. But we don't, let me give you an example of how this works. Here's my wife. I love her so dearly. And our relation gets strained and we're no longer husband and wife. So I feel that life is no longer worth me going on, or she feels life is so she jumps out a window or shoot her brains out. We hear these things every day. People lose their loved ones, or people lose whatever, and they say, my life is not worthy to go on. But we have to look at it, that the love for what Allah has given us as a blessing is no justification for killing ourselves. Person go to the bottle, lady go to drugs because an old man left her with a house full of children. It's no justification for her to destroy her life. It's a hadith say, if you destroy your life, the way you destroy your life, you're going to be brought back into the judgment, and that act that you used to destroy your life would happen over and over and over and over and over again. If you put a noose around your neck and kicked the table from under it and hung yourself, you'll be raised in the judgment, walking up on the chair, hanging yourself over and over and over and over again. That's the gist of that hadith. That's all we're going to say on that one. Some of these hadith, I've read a lot of them, but some of them I don't just discuss in general. But I just remember that one. Alhamdulillah. Okay, that means all praise is due to Allah. Okay, we're going to close out with al-kufr, or disbelief, and its various manifestations. Kufr is basically disbelief in any of the articles of faith in Islam. And the articles of faith are to believe in Allah, to believe in His angels, to believe in His prophets, to believe in His revealed books, the day of resurrection. It seems like I hear some quails outside. I hear a lot of mumbling. Revealed books, the day of resurrection, and the fate, reward and punishment. Whatever Allah has ordained to come to pass, it will come to pass. The qadr. وَقَدْرُ خَيْرِهِ شَارِهِ مِنَ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى. What reward and punishment? That's the article of our faith. Fate is called fate or qadr. Okay, there are two aspects of disbelief. The major disbelief, this aspect includes one completely from the fold of Islam. And there are 5 types of major disbelief. And one of them, one manifestation of major disbelief is al-kufr al-takdhib. Al-kufr al-takdhib. And this implies disbelieving the divine truth or denial of any of the articles of faith. So what we have enumerated, if you run across a person that disbelieves any of the articles of faith, that's a major form of disbelief. They don't accept the angels, for example, or they don't believe in Allah, or they don't believe in the prophets. You know, some people, they say, well, I'll accept this, I'll accept that, but I don't believe in the prophets. You know, I don't believe in the day of resurrection. I don't believe that Allah is going to bring us back. You know, in our first experience, we were taught there was no akhirah. There was no hereafter. I hear a lot of my brothers preaching, but they get real mum on that point. We were taught that this is all you get. Ain't nothing coming after you leave here. That's what was preached. But we were innocent. Allah is merciful. And maybe we'll say this for the next time. This is al-Bukhari. Al-Bukhari is perhaps, his reports have been proven to be very good. Al-Bukhari. So we just wanted to share with you just a few points. The articles of faith. We believe in Allah. We believe in the angels. You know, you got some that they accept Michael and reject Jibreel. You know, you got some that accept, they pick and choose. The revealed books. Now, our articles of faith is to accept the revealed books and revelations that was given to the prophets of God. You know, Abraham was given the, I think it was called the Sahih. It's mentioned in Quran. Maybe we'll do a class. I've done a class on that before, on the books of God, books of Allah, and in the Quran. The Psalms of David, Dawood, the scrolls of David, the different books. So we charge to accept the books. And I think that's healthy psychologically, because if you see a Muslim, and many, sometimes, you know, my Christian relatives or brothers, and I got people that's off into that, and if they say something that makes sense, you hear the Muslim say, Alhamdulillah, that's good. That's healthy. I mean, you know, that is healthy to acknowledge. If something makes sense, see, we as Muslims are taught, if it's something truthful, truth defends itself. Truth is truth. That's healthy psychologically. See, I don't have to be a Christian to appreciate the contribution of Christians. And I think Christians are making many contributions. And many things that I take issue with them, but I corroborate what I say. When I say something, we corroborate it with evidence. You know, it's not a personal thing in that sense, but if it makes sense, it's no problem. It makes sense. Bear witness to the truth. So we say in conclusion, dear Muslims, we appreciate your presence here and listening to just these few words. Don't forget, if your schedule is our Tuesday, not Tuesday, our Wednesday at 7, our community day, a social day, we're going to address community concerns, and then we're just going to meet with one another, and we got a lot of things that we want to address, and we want to firm that up so when it gets warmer, in the warmer months, this is going to grow into something far more significant for us as a community. So we appreciate your presence and you sticking out just to hear these few words that we had to share with you. So without any further delay, we'll make a dua. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. O Allah, grant us good in this life and good in the hereafter, and spare us the torment of the fire. Ameen. Ameen. Thank you very much. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to, I got so involved in trying to get these points out. I wanted to open up, and we can still do that, of course. If what we say has stimulated any questions, you know, like questions that maybe you want a little bit more delineation, I'll be glad to maybe entertain some of your inquiries or questions. I could just only share with you what's being shared with me. Alhamdulillah. Are there any questions, anything?
Yeah, I wanted you to, can you present the, what you call it, inconspicuous shirk?
Inconspicuous shirk again?
Yeah, and you gave an example.
Yes, sir.
I believe you were speaking about, well, anyway, can you...
Okay, this implies being inwardly dissatisfied with the inevitable condition that has been ordained for one by Allah. Let me give you a point. Say, for example, if you were born with an obvious physical property about you, for example. Say you were born and you got your pancreas didn't work and you've got, say, sugar or high blood or whatever. This is an inevitable condition. This is what's being given to you. And because of that, you get bitter at the world. You begin to look at what Allah has ordained, and you begin to say, if you were born other, you know, then this would have been better for you, rather than accept the fact that certain things are ordained by Allah. You see, if I look at you and see the parents, your mother and father, they came together and the chromosomes and whatever came to make you. Same thing about me. These are inevitable conditions of Allah. We have to respect what God has willed to come into being. Not look at it and wish it was other than that.
But what about the situations that you can change?
That's not saying that you don't have Allah gives you knowledge and faculties to change your condition. It's not applicable to that situation. You still haven't grasped what's meant here. What Allah has ordained is what Allah has ordained. That doesn't say, it's not feudalism, meaning that Allah has given man a choice to make decisions. You've been ordained with whatever you've been ordained with or given by Allah. You have a choice either to accept or reject. Always the choice is there. Where you take a man's choice away, you take his humanity away. That's not saying that. It's saying that inconspicuous shirk is you're dissatisfied with the inevitable condition that has been ordained by Allah. Allah made you a male, so you don't want to be a male. I think I'll be a good woman then. You see? No. Allah has ordained certain things. And we accept what Allah has ordained. Now, that acceptance could be go either way, meaning that based on what we've been ordained with. But this is primarily speaking of the dissatisfaction. You see? The dissatisfaction, inevitable condition, has been ordained by Allah, but consciously lamenting. Don't forget that part, because it could be perceived as being futile, meaning I've been ordained with this. Allah ordained it, therefore I'm not supposed to change it. I'm not saying that. We're saying that consciously lamenting that if it had been done another way, you see, that you've done or not done such and such, you would have approached it such, you would be in a better status. You don't know that. So you can say, if I was born this way, you say, well, I would be in a better status, but you don't know that. That's to say, if you've been ordained with something, and you consciously lament that you would have been in a better status if such and such would have happened, that's something you don't know. Allah knows you don't. That's a simple way. That's not saying you shouldn't do anything about it. That's just like a person is ordained with high blood pressure. Is that saying that Allah say I should be satisfied with, I shouldn't be dissatisfied with my brother? No, it's saying that you should use your faculties, take your medication, and approach it like that. More so lamenting that I've been, getting, no.
Use the example of marriage with one wife that didn't work out. And a
No,
second wife.
okay, well, sometimes you don't know. So most of us, we get married in the younger, when we're younger. We don't go with the knowledge that we have up in years, meaning that we're young, hormones are jumping, and we make a choice. But once we get off in it, sometimes other things happen. It just don't work. Maybe she wants the party life. You don't. Maybe she likes the gamble life. A lot of women gamble. She's very attractive. You like her. You love her. But she likes to go to a casino 2 days a week. But you're a Muslim. Gambling is forbidden for you. How do you resolve it? How is it going to be resolved? It depends. Maybe she would ultimately come over to where you are, and or you will ultimately go back and both of y'all be over casino. But what happens if it becomes threatening to the relationship? Something's going to be resolved. But this is later on. But later when you're right in it, you don't put these constructions on until you get right in it. But there again, you have a choice as a human being. You can always accept or reject. No one can take your choice from you. You have a choice. Always remember that you have a choice. Don't try to justify it. Say, this is something I'm working on. I have to work on this. But you have a choice. Don't give up your ability to choose. Don't try to improve your condition. When you see it, then you act accordingly. We can't look for others to justify wrong. Allah says wrong. Allah say this here, but then we have to adjust it accordingly. But never just lament that if I had been born, I could say a lot of things in that area. But what was me was me. I didn't do the decision there. That's the way I perceived it. I was a part of humanity that didn't do that. I didn't feel it was necessary for me to do this or that. But what I ended up with, this is me. This is where we have to look at it. This was Allah's will. Allah willed that. Now that I know that, how can I enhance that even more? How can I grow in even to more areas of responsibility? You see, we can't justify certain things. When we come into the knowledge, our own selves obligate us to follow the knowledge once we've come into it. That's the way that works. Yes, sir.
When you talk about, you said that Noble Drew wrote his own Quran.
Yeah, he's got a book. They call it the Quran, but it's not the Quran.
Okay, and then you said something about the Muhammad Ali translation.
Yes.
Being something from the Ahmadis, is that correct?
Yes, the Ahmadi. In fact, I don't have mine. I got one. And when you open the very first cover, it says this is the Ahmadiyya community.
Okay.
It says that on it, yes.
So that's not the actual Quran. That's something they've rewritten.
No, it's the Quran, because I told you before the Quran is this Arabic. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's where you have to look at it.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that community that produces that translation, they got serious problems. But you can't call them on the carpet for the language. The language is good, in fact, par excellent.
Okay.
But I'm just sharing that with you in terms of the problem their community gonna have to face.
Yeah.
You can't, as a Muslim, say that Ghulam Ahmed is the prophet. That's a serious problem. Just like we couldn't rightfully say that Farad was God personified. We don't believe in a personification in Islam. We can't hold on to that. Yes.
Yes. Is it okay? I'm trying to find out if this is the same person. don't they refer him to like the Mahdi or something?
Mahdi, yeah.
Mahdi. Okay, right. It's some. Cause I know. I think I have some of his literature.
Who is that?
Muhammad is it Maulana Muhammad Ali? Is the same person?
Maulana Ali.
Muhammad Ali. Is he Pakistani?
Yeah.
And he wrote certain literature. I think I have a book on
Uh-huh.
how, but I don't. Is what he teaches, is some of it, I mean, correct to
Well, a lot of it is correct. But see, here's what I'm sharing with you. Irregardless of how, I'll put it in this way, irregardless of how knowledgeable you get, we don't worship knowledge. We worship Allah. If Allah has blessed you with knowledge, alhamdulillah. And then again, knowledge is not just the end and of itself. Just being knowledgeable, getting in a circle, la, 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 la. No. Knowledge is applying what you know. Seeing it demonstrated in the society that you're in. We only have a finite number of years on the planet. How can we change it? How many universities? How many people are we graduating? It's an indictment on us when we have so much knowledge and we can't come together and change a lot of this confusion out here. So what happens is we find that we have to begin to apply what we know. And the first thing is applying it with our own selves and with each other. Bringing about what we want. Bringing about our children where they begin to recite Quran and those that we can get their attention. Because a lot of our children, we can't get their attention. But we can't use our own personal experiences to interfere with the broader vision. But you were saying something else about this guy?
No, I was just, I didn't want to get caught up to, listening to, or listening to, I guess.
Well, you
shirk.
could.
Shirk. I mean,
No, listen to everyone. The main thing is, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. The main thing is to listen to everyone. Listen to everyone. Make your assessment. Be strong. Listen and evaluate what everyone is saying. Because I have many things I don't even mention. Because I'm, you don't just, you don't have the time or whatever to mention everything. But listen to everyone and everything. Reverend Hogmaw, listen to him. Now I'm gonna stop that. But listen to what a lot of people are saying and what they are saying. And study it, take it a little bit further. But the bottom line is, all the knowledge, Allah is above all of it. Your head shouldn't get big regardless of how knowledgeable you get. And then you don't want people attracted to you, to follow you. You want people to follow what you represent. It's like the Imam Wafdi Muhammad doesn't want people to follow him. He said, follow what I represent. Don't put the focus on me personally. That's what they did Prophet Muhammad. When Prophet Muhammad passed, Umar said, if anybody here say Prophet Muhammad is dead, I'll cut him, I'll take him. And then it took Abu Bakr to stand up and say, no, those who are worshiping Prophet Muhammad, you see, those who worship Prophet Muhammad is dead, but those who worship Allah, Allah lives forever. So when Abu Bakr stood up and made that stand, that became history. Whatever, we don't worship people and deity and forces. And even the spirit is referring to the angels, Jibreel. It's really the angels. You see, spirit is angel. Many people worship spirits. You see? Many people worship forces of nature. Many people are turned on, and many of them are very knowledgeable people. But we as Muslims have to understand that we have a Quran is the criterion upon which we make our judgment. This qualifies all other books. If somebody is smart, they're intelligent, hey, that is a blessing. This is a ni'mah from Allah. I'm not to worship you. You see? Many of us fall into, we feel cultural. I go places, sometimes you send the sisters. Here they cooking like the Pakistani sisters now. If I've been eating this sister's cooking for 20 years and it's good to me, wholesome, good, why should she want to cook like the Pakistani sister? That's not, Muslim food is not, I don't have to become other than me. You understand? So this is culture. Maybe next, see, I did the wrong thing. This week, I was saying, well, I'll bring it in this way and more so get the information out. But I see that the interaction is probably more fruitful. You know, it benefits, because I'm thinking that benefit a larger audience, whatever, in terms of what we're discussing. And that is, Islam, or El-Islam, is not culturalism to the degree people lose who they are. They're not supposed to do that. Allah has made a diverse. We have unity and diversity, many different cultural expressions. Just like that kufi cap you're wearing. Many Pakistanis came into Islam, and many people say, well, it has something to do with Islam. But many different cultural gestures. Some people say, well, it's the reaction to the Jewish yarmulke. You know, different communities react a different way. They put their mark, their statement. Just like us, Nation of Islam. We had, when we were the Nation of Islam, there were certain things that we were given that are lasting and beautiful. And we were instructed, don't give that up. Just those areas where your culture runs counter to what Allah says in the Quran, then the adjustments have to be made. Your dietary, your this, your that. But to put on a costume and rock, costume just to look different, isolation is more destructive than anything else. Isolate yourself from your family. Isolate yourself from the people that want to hear. You do more dawah by just using good common sense and good judgment. People respect that. Good judgment, good common sense. Yes, sir.
That brings up one question. This is kind of off of what we're talking about.
Alhamdulillah.
I wanted to know, is it appropriate to accept a donation for a cause for the masters here from brothers, friends?
It's appropriate. It's always appropriate to accept donations. Yes, why not? If people want to donate, why not? Charity is one of the pillars of our faith. Now, if this person is a drug dealer or something, you know, not okay, or whatever.
Brothers, other Muslims.
Well, why shouldn't it be? This is a sense of using it.
Because, you know.
No, but it's a sense of using from you. Because you know why I say that? Because the first governor of Yemen was sent off, and the Prophet asked him, if you didn't have a Quran, how would you judge? Well, I use your sunnah. If you didn't have that, how would you judge? I would exert myself with the good common sense to make the judgment. They call it ijtihad. Use your own common sense in the matter. Somebody want to donate, let them donate.
Well,
There shouldn't be any restrictions. You still haven't presented why should you even cast a doubt on a person donating, just using good common sense. Person want to donate to a cause. People do it every day. I do it. You don't you? I donate to cause every day, all the time. They're not Muslim causes, and I donate to it. So just change it around. If somebody want to donate to what you represent, alhamdulillah. I don't see any problem. In other words, what I'm saying, I don't see any problem just using basic, what would you consider appropriate and honorable in the circumstance? Any other questions? Yeah, alhamdulillah. But yeah, you know, that idea, you know, the idea of, yeah, don't isolate yourself. The Prophet, go around people. Don't just you know, don't isolate yourself. Because you'll come in a situation where people will suggest to you something. They'll see you there and they'll suggest to you something. Then you tell them, oh no, that's something we don't do. You know, and try to, you know, pick where you go in many cases, you know. But if sometimes you're around relatives, you're around people and whatever, people will notice when you don't partake in a lot of what they're into. But you don't have to make it an issue. You don't have to wear it on your sleeve. You'll have an opportunity to voice what you represent. You know, you'll have that opportunity. It'll come. Yes, sir.
I have a question, just touch on something you said about food, someone cooking food for you. I understand that, if I can recall correctly, I understand that pork is absolutely forbidden. The eating of meat with blood in it, or
Yes.
liver,
Yeah.
And was one more thing. Was it carrying or?
Carrying, yeah.
But be that in some instances, he was speaking on like how far do you want to take not eating pork to the point where you don't want to just eat the meat, but like its byproducts and things of that sort. I mean, how far do you take that? Because I've been in a situation where your diet. I know the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to a degree had limited the diet, and then some brothers would take that like you can't eat this or that.
Okay, let me share something with you real quick. Let me share something with you. The Muslim is at peace with the pig. God created the pig. We just don't eat it. See, the main thing is the emphasis. If your life depended on you surviving and no other food around, you're permitted to eat the pig. You're permitted to eat it. Meaning that sometimes you're in a situation, you're thrust in a situation. You don't have to make that your emphasis of your conversation. I'm at peace with the pig. I see people eating it. I see relatives. I'm over at my grandmother's house. Granddad, he eating pig. I don't make that an emphasis. I don't make that the emphasis out of good judgment. I'm at peace with the pig. I don't eat it. But it's the emphasis. I know that if my life depended on me surviving, and that was the only food, I'm permitted to eat it. But I don't eat it. The main impetus for me not eating it because Allah say don't eat it. I don't have to get into conversations about the trichinosis worm. I don't have to get in conversations about refrigeration, when the refrigeration comes to me. I don't have to get involved with any of that. I don't eat it because Allah say don't eat it. Now, if we want to carry it further, there's publications written on the triglycerides and the scientific standpoint. But if we're in the audience of that, and we want to carry it into those extremes, alhamdulillah, there's no problem. But sometimes you have to give, if you're in mixed company, and if it's pointed to you, you can say quite categorically, I choose not to eat it, or I don't eat it. If they want to carry it further, well, these are instructions by Allah. Allah has deemed these things illegal for me to eat.
Every time the sound has been in some bad situations where you eat a bag of chips. I mean, these your chips. You like these chips. When this process.
Well, I see what you're saying. And like of the chips, you haven't going to extremes. Allah say don't go to extremes. Now, if your brother going to extremes, I know here's a brother, he go on Hajj and in the airport in Jeddah, it's a modern toilet facilities, but it's no toilet. It's a hole, it's marble floor, and it's rails that you hold on, it's a thing you spray with. Brother go over in the Middle East, now he comes home, he takes his toilet out. Puts marble floor, and he squats down, he do all. Now see, he's carrying it to extremes, in my judgment. His perception, I want to be clean, But he has company that's American, that choose not to. Okay, so his vision, see, there are certain things that happen, I'm not categorically denying them, but it's a statement in the Quran called, muhkamat and muktashabih. There are certain things that are muhkamat, basic and fundamental, and then there are things that are muktashabih. There's things that are allegorical and figurative. Now, if you put on these allegorical things, you put a literal construction on it, take it literally and take it to all kind of extremes, well then they're just based on the way you set up, the way your heart is, the way you view it. Nobody gonna stop you, but that's the way we have untold freedoms in America, and that's what we see a lot of brothers and sisters going off into. Yes?
Real quick, you can take voodoo to the extremes, or can you?
Well, I wouldn't go to put, to extremes. I would say, if you're taking voodoo so much so until you miss the prayer, Everybody else done prayed. You've taken to extremes. I would interpret it that way. but
real quick, you know.
yeah.
But I always thought you had to wash the hands a certain way.
Well, some people, yeah. Well, see, some places go, and sometimes the places determine a lot of that too. Sometimes you go to a place you want to hurry up and get out of it. You may feel you pick up more uncleanliness by the environment, more so than the whole process. Look like a dungeon. Some of these places look like dungeons. So we should make the voodoo part where we take voodoo very accommodating, bright colors and a nice place to sit down with, maybe nice thought has to go into where you have the voodoo. A lot of times we go to places and it's like a dungeon and people look and it's so, it just turns people off. But we have to use good judgment in that. I did a khutbah one time and I say we should have in the office a nice beautiful scarf for a sister that want to visit. She don't have to be Muslim or whatever. She's from some other community just observing. Give her this beautiful scarf to put on her head. To this day, I don't know whether a scarf is in the office yet. I haven't seen it used, and I thought I was at the place the other day. In fact, I'm going to do that. We're going to carry through that. I'm going to put that as an agenda item on the thing, get some scarves just for the office. But we have to use a little, we have to use the knowledge that God gave us. Good common sense to make it accommodate, even the way we treat people, new people. I've seen situations where we treat new people so atrocious until a person probably should have just cussed you out. But because they don't know, they react a different way and keep stepping. But main thing is people do things the way they perceive it. Just like some people take off their socks and they go in more of a thorough, you know. But if you had a bath and your feet are clean, it's not necessary for you to take off your socks. You see? But brother's feet is maybe feet so dirty, he take off his socks. Maybe a thorough wudu is not enough. Maybe a scrub brush and some Lysol and some everything else. So I don't want to get into quantifying this. It's what you call a ritual washing. You should be clean. It's a ritual washing. Yes.
I'm not trying to keep it there all night, but
That's all right. Go ahead.
I kind of want to address what he said, and then
Okay.
When you talk about like a bag of chips, are you talking about like people who tell you that pork is in like a certain brand of chips or something like that?
Yeah, they think it's byproducts. You know, they say.
No, well, let's say it like this. Most chips are cooked in vegetable oil. And most people, if they use vegetable oil, they say vegetable oil, not pork. Okay? Vegetable oil, generally people who have vegetable oil or soybean oil or what, they'll say what kind of oil it was cooked in. So chips are okay.
But we know that.
I haven't seen, well, there's some people on those lists, and some people go in toothpastes, and I personally wouldn't publicly go into anything without my list or whatever, but you could be selective. You should be selective, okay? I think the things that we can spend our time on, not so much the chips. I don't see many pork. I don't see pork on the chips that I've seen. I would say they would be all right for consumption. But the deal is like a good example, the kind of examples we focus, and I'm like that. I try to not pick the gray areas. I'll say that for the scientists. I got stuff I could deal with that, but I like to pick the areas to make it clear for a person. Like if you're gonna get some medicine. Now you get some NyQuil, that's what, how many percent? You get drunk on that. Where the Muslim should make a better selection on some kind of preparation that's going to help him sleep good, okay? Okay? So NyQuil got so much alcohol in it that the brother get drunk. So that should be clear for him to understand that I won't get the NyQuil. Maybe I'll go to the health food store and get something that would help me with my cold and sleep good. Maybe some kind of tea or something, okay? So it is making good selections, knowing what's the choice and make a better choice. But we don't just dwell on that particular thing and lose focus on everything else. You know, at least eat. You got a lot of people now starving themselves to death because of what's up here. Go ahead.
Right, and that's what I think I've made a pretty good transition from stop doing that.
Okay.
It take 4 hours just going to the grocery store if you're trying to find out, And then I was speaking to a Orthodox Jew one day. I worked with him actually, and he couldn't eat a lot of food because like Muslims, their diet has these restrictions as well. And he was talking about like certain symbols that are on like
On foods and stuff, yeah.
To signify that yes, it's acceptable to eat, or that it doesn't have certain.
Yeah, selective. Well, he's selective, yes.
Right.
Now, what's your question?
Well, my question was that as a Muslim, was that taken to an extreme?
No, you should be selective in your food. You should try to get halal. If you can't, you should be seriously thinking about getting with brothers and try to ultimately get it. But be realistic with where you are. Be realistic to your supports and whatever. That's why it's always good to, a good teacher points out many of the pitfalls that we get into because of our trying to do it on our own, not following leadership. Okay? And we go off into a lot of spooky stuff. That's why we've been blessed with a leader like Imam Warfdeen Muhammad that gives us a more common sense approach to a lot of these issues. That's the thing. Listen to the Imam Warfdeen Muhammad. He deals with a lot of this. A lot of people go to extremes. I know people that don't eat pork, don't eat this, that, and the other, but they're pigs. Otherwise, you see? So you have to concentrate on other things, other things as well with regard to dealing with people, dealing with situations. Okay? Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Let us make another dua because we should have done that, but alhamdulillah, we got our camera going and a lot of that could be used, alhamdulillah, because, we get the information that just us interacting is good. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار آمين.
Environmental alert. Local schools have been closed and outdoor activities should be limited.
Pollution-related respiratory illnesses are on the rise, especially among children and the elderly.
Please be sure that your children stay inside.
Every year, tens of thousands of people die prematurely due to air pollution. Poor air quality costs us millions of dollars in medical expenses, and the productivity of Latin American cities and businesses is diminished. Vehicle emissions represent the most important source of air pollution in Latin American cities. The reduction of air pollution is not an impossible challenge. We need to promote the use of cleaner fuels in vehicles and improve public transportation. The Clean Air Initiative for Latin American Cities, building partnerships for a cleaner and healthier Latin America.
nation.